Good day. My name is Graham Edwards, and the title of my study is Instructional Leadership and the Role of Women Principals in Disadvantaged School Communities. This project seeks to uplift schools that were part of South Africa's rich heritage, particularly from a traditional and cultural point of view. A couple of the alumni that came from these schools are well respected and leading politicians of South Africa today. The first one that comes to mind is Magosiji Buthelezi. He was the founder of the Inkatha Freedom Party, and he was the first Minister of Foreign Affairs in the post-apartheid government. Another well-known name is Albert Luthuli, who went to Adams College, one of the schools in the study. Chief Albert Luthuli was South Africa's first winner of the Nobel Peace Prize and a former president of the ANC. He was president of the ANC from 1952 to 1967. Within this historical and socio-economic context, and together with the intention to examine instructional leadership as a means of school improvement from a critical feminist perspective, the following research question is posed. In what way, if any, will a critical feminist approach to educational leadership promote and develop instructional leadership practices in disadvantaged school communities, with particular reference to schools in the Historical Schools Restoration Project? Linking to these historical schools, as well as the historical and cultural context, is the emerging theme of Indigenous Knowledge Systems. Indigenous Knowledge Systems, or IKS, recognizes the value of local knowledge and the contribution that it makes to the understanding of the current context. In addition, IKS promotes the cultural dimension of learning and adds to the richness of the knowledge base, which may sometimes be ignored by more modern interpretations of this knowledge. Probably the most notable alumni of the historical schools is Nelson Mandela, well known to all of us, the first president of the democratic South Africa, spent 27 years in jail to fight for freedom of our people, and a world icon. So the research project will therefore investigate the role of women in disadvantaged school communities, and will be focused on schools in the Eastern Cape province as well as the KwaZulu-Natal province in South Africa. To date, the preliminary findings are as follows. First of all, leadership remains essential. This we know. There is much research that supports this, but with particular reference to instructional leadership. For schools to be effective in the implementation of curriculum and the development thereof, instructional leadership remains paramount. Secondly, female leaders are proven to be most successful and adaptable instructional leaders. In addition, women leaders present a more transformational leadership style characterized by a high degree of collaboration and attention to the development of interpersonal skills.
Greetings from Zimbabwe. My name is Joyce, and I am studying female Zimbabwean school heads as curriculum leaders in disadvantaged school contexts. The study sought to investigate how female Zimbabwean school heads in Masvingo district managed the school curriculum in disadvantaged school contexts, the nature of the challenges which they encountered in managing the school curriculum. 30 school leaders, all of who were females except for one deputy school head, were selected for the study. Of these, 5 were school heads, 5 were deputy school heads, and 3 were teachers in charge. 5 schools were sampled, and of these 2 were in the rural areas, while 3 were in the urban area of Masvingo. Parents were poor and survived on subsistence farming. Some did not have adequate food to feed their children, hence children depended on food handouts from organizations like Care International and the Red Cross Society. They did not have adequate infrastructure. In one of the schools, children learned under trees for half the day, while the other school used cubicles, formerly used as chicken incubators by the previous farmer, as classrooms. that emerged from the study were resistance from the community, which had been accustomed to having male school heads. Resistance in this case manifested through failure to pay school fees and paying for essentials such as textbooks and uniforms. Parents compared the female school heads' leadership styles with the previous male school head styles. For example, males were viewed as lenient when it came to debt collection, while females were labeled as inconsiderate since they insisted on payment of fees. Though some school heads looked for donations, they said they were not as good as previous male heads who could network. The heads collaborated with their colleagues on issues of decision making and with the community to solve some of the challenges they encountered. Lastly, there is a lot of emotional labor from heads as they battle to do the best for the poor, especially the orphans.
The research title is Redefining Teacher Leadership in Public Secondary Schools in Lagos State in Nigeria by Olujuwon Olutola Thompson, and my supervisor is Professor Juliet Peruma. About this research, literature on school leadership have shown that effective school leadership makes a significant difference to schools and student learning outcomes. The roles and responsibilities of teachers as leaders are critical concepts in achieving these goals. Despite the significant role of teachers, the teacher as a leader in most Nigerian schools is limited to teachers' duties and responsibilities such as teaching and learning in the classrooms. In addition, research in educational leadership has been dominated by a traditional view of leadership, which recognizes principles as solitary leaders while ignoring contributions of non-principals in school leadership. The demand for improved school leadership and achievement of learning outcomes have made researchers advocate for teacher leadership in schools. This demand provides a unique departure from the traditional understanding of school leadership. It sees leadership not as a role or function, but about the discovery of teachers' potentials for collaboration and forging of relationships among people within the organization for development. It gives new meaning, new culture, and new paradigm to the climate of teaching and management in schools. Emerging research is supportive of the need for teacher leadership in the world. In addition, literatures have shown that effective school leadership has impact on students' educational outcomes and school improvement. The Nigerian educational system embraces the promotion of hierarchical models of school leadership while ignoring contributions of non-principal in school leadership. Moreover, there is no qualification for school leadership that can enhance teacher leadership skills. In addition, the curriculum for pre-service teachers does not provide for learning in educational leadership. Also, there is little research focused on teacher leadership. Furthermore, there are poor opportunities that are available for teachers to become leaders. The critical research question of the studies is, how do teachers perceive leadership in schools? Second, what are the policies guiding leadership in public secondary schools? Thirdly, how do the current practices of school leadership influence teacher leadership in Nigerian secondary schools? Fourthly, how can the practice of teacher leadership be advanced in Nigerian secondary schools? The following are some of the challenges to female leadership. Number 1, closing the leadership gap in organization. Number 2, establishing a balance between career and family life. Number 3, inability to navigate successfully the organizational climate. Fourthly, patriarchal leadership in organization.
I'm Janine LaRue. Hi, and I'm Anzala Alisa. Our research title was Women Leading in Disadvantaged Schools. Some of our main research questions included: what are some of the theories, images and metaphors of leadership that have defined the field of educational leadership studies, and how has critical feminist scholarship reconfigured the field of educational leadership studies? We researched is situated on the outskirts of Johannesburg. This settlement was established after the forced removals of the 1960s. The school serves learners from Pennyville, Soweto and Riverlea. 90% of the learners are coloured and 10% are black. In the past few years, the community has been home to Zimbabweans fleeing from their own country. This school is situated near a mine dump next to a busy motor highway, which reportedly leads to lead poisoning of the learners. The community serves both Muslims and Christians, but according to the principal, 99.9% of the learners are Christian.
Socioeconomic factors such as unemployment, illegal gambling and the misuse of social grants plague the community. The high percentage of teenage pregnancies coupled with drug and alcohol abuse generally eventuate in learners suffering from fetal alcohol syndrome. There is no recreational facilities for the learners and no support from their families to get an education. The Department of Education has proclaimed the school a non-fee paying school. In other words, most of the resources come from the Department of Education and the parents are not obliged to pay school fees. The school obtains financial support from private institutions like Philips to fund projects such as the vegetable gardens and jungle gyms.
The female educational leaders in this study also perceive their leadership image as that of a savior. The image of a savior is appropriate within this context because of the socio-economic status of the community and their dependency on receiving assistance from the school leaders. Some of our findings were as follows. Female leaders still subscribe to the hierarchical male leadership style and subsequently they marginalize themselves in the process. The research also showed that race and gender politicized interpersonal relationships among staff. For example, the principal cited that she is not respected by her black male staff members.
Curriculum leadership was seen as the excellent knowledge of a policy document, thus leading to a bureaucratic approach to curriculum. We concluded that educational leaders have not yet embraced curriculum as self-other empowerment, but use it as curriculum management instead.
I'm Pat Naidu. I am a master's student at the University of Johannesburg. My research topic is Women Principals in Curriculum Leadership at Schools in Disadvantaged Communities in Gauteng East District. The research gives rise to the following critical questions. 1. To observe the impact of preconceptions, stereotypes and beliefs on women principals in curriculum leadership positions in disadvantaged communities and their negotiation of these challenges. Secondly, to examine curriculum leadership styles of these women principals in their schools. The schools in this research are located in urban townships on the outskirts of the Gauteng province in South Africa. The remains of the legacy of apartheid are evident in the communities where the schools are situated. These communities are categorized as disadvantaged because they do not have the means to improve their life. They endure a combination of obstacles such as poor housing, bad health, unemployment, poor skills, and substance abuse. In parent meetings, although addressed by the female principal, males stand up and threaten to walk out because they want to be led by another male. At another school, the male deputy principal stood up and took over the meeting, showing no regard for the female principal leadership or authority. He felt the female principal could not manage her staff and that he could do a better job. Learners receive little or no support from their homes. Parents have become so accustomed to their way of living that they see no benefit of their children furthering their studies. The principal and the SGB decided to keep the school open until 5 every day and over the weekends to allow learners to do their homework. There are parents who attend meetings, but of these, many cannot understand the language or the terminology to assist their learners. However, curriculum leadership encompasses other aspects such as staff development, creating a shared vision, and involvement of all stakeholders in decision-making processes. These women principals go the extra mile, thus dispelling the belief that they are incompetent to lead. They employ a variety of leadership styles and are able to negotiate using their own experiences and background to assist them.